So welcome back for the week 6 update. I got the highlights ahead of us here, but week 6, we're seeing bucks every single sit between Wishbone and I. A lot of 2s and 3-year-old bucks. And I want to say probably 4 or 5 days where between the two of us, we've had mature bucks sightings. So I didn't get everything on film, but I do have the highlights coming up. I want to say probably 3 or 4 different sits I saw hot does. So there were bucks that were, in one case I actually saw a buck breeding a doe, but there were 3 or 4 different sits, maybe even 5 sits where I literally saw a hot doe with several bucks or like one mature buck with that doe. So we're definitely getting into that peak breeding time of year. Wishbone had a couple really good evening hunts, but she didn't get it done. Just always deer on the wrong side of the tree, just different things like that. But it's pretty exciting time of year to be out hunting right now. So let's go into the highlights for the week, and then we'll come back and I'll tell you what my strategy is. I think today is the 12th, the 11th or 12th of November. So right now we're in that peak breeding, and I'll tell you what my strategy is for the next 7 days here going forward.
So we started off the week. This was the evening hunt, and I saw this buck. I just wanted to include it because it was kind of a cool buck. But here I am, downwind of bedding. That's a mox crepe in front of me there. I believe this is a morning hunt. Tried to sneak into this spot in the morning. Pretty thick in there. This is a permission farm. So about all I can do here is hunt it with as little hunting pressure as I can. And throughout the week, throughout this last week, just about every doe that I saw had a buck on it. Not that they were in heat. But yeah, 5 minutes behind that doe was this buck, and that was typical all week. So if I saw a doe, it wasn't too far along, and there was going to be a buck behind them. So this was another evening sit. Pretty good 8-pointer comes in. I actually think this might be a mature buck. But he ended up crossing the ditch just off to my right shoulder. That's a pretty nice deer. Just not something I'm going to shoot right now in mid-November. But I was hunting a funnel area, so I'm going to try and tell you kind of where I'm hunting in each one of these spots. Funnel area in conjunction with a ditch crossing. So this is one of my favorite spots for a morning sit. And I actually got into this spot even though it was dead quiet because the crows were going nuts. I planned on sitting at the entrance to this farm for hours if I had to until the wind kind of picked up, but the crows were going nuts this morning, so I was able to get in here. But first time in, downwind of bedding, and I think I saw a couple does and fawns. That's it. So this is that same evening, I believe. Here comes a doe walking down through this ditch, and not far behind her, I should say. I can see a buck coming. It's pretty thick, right in that ditch. This actual woods we're hunting is pretty open, but right in this particular spot, it's pretty thick. So this is a mature buck, mature 9-pointer. We got pictures of this buck earlier in the season, and we just never had a good angle. It was always like facing away from us, or picture was blurry. But we never really knew what it was, but this is what he is. He's a mainframe 9. And wasn't long in this other buck. Now, we've seen this other buck before. He's got kind of that, his main beam on the right side kind of swoops up there. So we've seen him before. He came in this bigger buck, this mature buck, was having none of it. So he actually turned back, left his hot doe. That's actually a different fawn right there. But he turned back, left that hot doe, and went right at that 3-year-old 8-pointer. I don't know how far he got to him. Maybe about 50 yards, 40 yards, and that 9-pointer just pretty much hightailed it out of there. I think right now he's actually chasing him. He went right after that 9-pointer. Yeah, that's where that 9-pointer was standing. So I wanted to include this footage. This is the kind of stuff, this is the reason why I love hunting so much, just watching all this stuff. So that's right where that 9-pointer was standing, and this bigger mature buck was just having none of it. So if I wanted to kill this buck on this hunt, this is where I'd be grunting to bring that deer in. So those deer were by me for, I bet you, a couple hours. And I just deleted all that footage, and this is later in the evening. Then that doe finally got up out of her bed and headed north, and that big buck followed. They're headed out to some corn across these cut beans. Another one of my favorite spots, downwind side of bedding. Again, hard to get into in the morning. I think I was able to get in this morning because of crows again. I don't know what the deal is this year with these crows going nuts around us. I don't know if there's some dead cows out in the pasture or what. I really don't know what's going on, but a lot of crows in the area. I don't know if you can see that licking branch right up above to the right of where this doe is standing. That little scrape down below her. But seen a lot of does and fawns on these bedding area sits. And these does, they'll use these mock scrape just as much as the bucks. Nothing fancy about that mock scrape again. Don't get caught up in all the drama about you got to use a vine, or you got to use a rope, or you got to use a special licking branch thing gadget you can that you see on your social media feed. I think this is just an oak branch I got wired up in the tree and hanging down. But a lot of the deer that came through were using that. So here's this 3-year-old buck, or 2 or 3-year-old buck, and he was with a hot doe, and he wouldn't leave her. And they were by me all morning. I want to say 2-3 hours. I just thought that was kind of strange that there were other deer in the area, and this guy just kept on pounding his front paw down like that. I had never seen that before. And he would grunt every once in a while and just sit there and paw. And that hot doe, I want to say, is about 35 yards to his right, kind of in front of him and behind him a little, in front of him, and then farther away from me, I should say. So as he's standing basically over that hot doe, and she's just mingling around there, eating on some coral berry. I don't know if that's just like a challenge thing to everybody stay back. But throughout the morning, if a fawn would come in or a different doe, he would actually run them off too, not just other bucks. So any other deer that came in the area, he would run them off and then immediately return to that doe. So now we jump right into an evening hunt. This footage isn't the greatest, but I wanted you to hear these grunts. So that's what I can hear, is this grunting in these cedars to my east. I'm hunting this with a south wind, this stand. And at this point, I'm grabbing my bow. I got the camera turned, but I'm grabbing my bow because I have no idea what's in there. Right before those grunts, I heard 2 big sets of antlers just coming together, just loud and hammering. So 2 bucks went at it, but just for a second. They just hit each other hard once and then went away. So there's obviously 2 nice bucks in there. And this was a hot doe. She came through the cedars. And I can hear that other buck still grunting in there. Kind of neat. You can see my shadow there on that tree. You see the ladder stand coming up? Kind of see that? And you see that shadow moving? That's me in the tree stand. The sun right behind me. So I grabbed my bow, got the camera going, and I'm just waiting. I'm hoping, at this point, I'm actually hoping Kaminsky steps out, because that would be the one buck in this area that I would shoot. That I know of. I'm sure there's others, but that I know of. So a little time goes by, and wouldn't you know what buck steps out here. And there you see my shadow again. So I'm getting ready. Ah, there he is. Good old Joe. He's actually directly behind the tree right now. So that hot doe and him are actually on my downwind side right now. So I'm able to get the camera turned around as he walked through, and there he is. And there's your shot. Slightly quartering away. And at 8 yards, I'm going to put center vitals. Again, I shoot 345 feet per second or thereabouts. So I don't have to aim low at 8 yards. I'm going to put it center vitals right behind that front leg and let her go. So if I choose, this deer's done. There's no doubt in my mind. At 8 yards, that there's no way that I'm going to miss this deer. I suppose it's possible, but my confidence would be that there's no way this deer would get away. But this is why I let him go last time, so I could get another encounter with him. You know, hopefully Amy or Lily get a shot at this buck. But I just like being around these animals. It's pretty cool stuff. So right in front of him, in them cedars, is that hot doe. And now he's peeing in that scrape. So now what if this was your shot? What if you weren't ready and now you're finally ready and this is your shot? You know, I tell people, don't take it. Don't take that shot because you think, boy, if I don't take this shot right now, I'll never get another one. Try and resist that temptation. Because you might get another chance at him in a few seconds, in a few moments. You might get another chance at him on a different day. So there he goes. Chasing that hot doe back there. So if that just happened to you and you didn't get a shot, just lost my opportunity. Well, it wasn't 30 seconds later. Here they come back. And he's right on her. There's your shot. Stop him right there. Now it's even closer. So I just always tell people, don't take the shot that you think in your mind is, I have to take that shot because I'm not going to get one. At least that's my opinion. I'm sure other people would say, you know, don't wait for the perfect shot. And I get that. But don't force a shot either. And that's a hell of a buck. So, but I'm convinced he's 3 years old. And for me, I'd just as soon have Amy or Lily get a shot at that deer. And he ain't done. He's still chasing him. He chased all the way around the tree. That's pretty good stuff there, in my opinion. It's encounters like this, that's the reason why I go. Not for the kill shot.
It's the second time I passed up worm. Second time I passed up Joe. Boy, that's a hell of a big buck. That's why I passed him the first time, so I could see him again. So I passed them again tonight because I really want Amy or Lily to get that deer.
So here we are again. It's a pretty good 9-pointer. I've seen this buck a couple times this year. I just kind of wanted to illustrate where I'm hunting and why I'm hunting here. This is downwind side of bedding again, and there's a ditch crossing. So even though I like hunting, downwind side of bedding, I always like to include other things like ditch crossings or fence jumps or something in an area to bring them in closer. And that's the case with this buck. So here I am in a blind. I think this was just last night, so the night of the 11th. Got the decoy out. I got one antler, it's kind of bent there. But this is kind of an observation sit for me. I have the decoy out just in case a big buck would come through that bottom or something like that, but it's kind of an observation sit for me. And I'm filming this deer because this is people just lose track of this stuff, but that's that button buck. That's that buck fawn that Amy orphaned, and he's behind the house every single time we sit back there. Without fail, he's behind there. So that's why you orphan these button bucks, so they'll stick around forever. And I did see some does and fawns last night, and then this, thinking he's probably a 2-year-old, comes in and ears back and hair puffed up a little bit. Thought about challenging that decoy, but he ends up walking off. And also this last week, my good friend Tony was in camp and completely do-it-yourself public land hunt. He got this nice buck, really heavy bases, really nice deer.
So welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the highlights for week 6. That was probably one of the most difficult passes I've had on a 3-year-old buck was when I saw Joe the other night. That's just a dandy 12-pointer. I'm really hoping Lily or Amy gets a shot at him yet this year. So week 6 is going to be, I should say week 7 now, because we're actually getting into week 7. Peak breeding, the strategy is the same. As much time as I possibly can on stand. Week 6 was kind of a challenge for me hunting mornings, because a lot of my morning spots I like to get in close to bedding or on the downwind side of bedding and then just let the deer filter back into me in the morning. But it's been so quiet. Normally we don't have that problem. We have a lot of fall is pretty windy, but this year a lot of these mornings have been just still, just so still I can't get into my morning spots. So I've taken a lot of mornings off. I think I only hunted 3 or 4 mornings last week. This morning I'm making this video. This morning I took off, and it's windy out today, but it's just hard for me to get into my morning spots without a little bit of wind, a little bit of noise. So that's been a challenge for me, but sit as much as I possibly can, and I'm going to start hunting the edges, and I might actually start hunting spots that I normally wouldn't hunt necessarily to kill a buck, because right now, me personally, I'm going to be trying to find a buck that's a non-core buck to our home farm here and some of the places we can hunt. So I'm trying to find a buck that's expanded his home range and moved into our area. That'll be kind of my strategy going forward. So a lot of these bucks that I've seen now, Pickett and Joe and Worm, and there's another mature buck behind the house. I'm leaving a lot of these deer for Amy and Lily. So I'm hoping to pick up a different new buck. The one buck that I would kill right now today if I saw him is Kaminsky. And that's a buck that I passed up here 2-3 weeks ago and tried to get footage of him and didn't hit record. If you're following along, you'll remember that story. But if I saw him tonight, for example, I'd kill him. He's a pretty big buck. But other than him, I'm going to just kind of expand where I'm hunting and try and find a different mature buck going forward. The other thing I'll do is we're basically at mid-November. A lot of states, and I talked about this in the last video and maybe even the one before that, but a lot of states you're either into your primary gun deer season, you're getting ready for your primary gun deer season. And if I were you and you're trying to grow big bucks, I'd be backing off pressure especially on your food sources, especially on your destination food. I'd be backing off that pressure to get those deer to find that your farm and your hunting property is safe and secure so that you can attract them and hold them and protect them through that primary gun season. So thanks for following along. Week 7 here coming up. We'll see what kind of footage I get. Like I said, I'll be on the fringes looking to pick up a new buck, so I don't know what kind of footage I'll get, but hopefully Wishbone will have a couple good encounters and get one on the ground here, and then we'll try and bring that to you. The recovery maybe, and a little bit of background on what kind of buck she gets. So thanks for tagging along. Week 7 coming up, and for everybody out there still going at it, good luck.